Welcome to Already One.
So we want to dedicate the 80% of our time and resources to the less rich communities here in Peru.
Welcome to Already One, a Sports Friends podcast. I'm the Wildcat, and he is the Mad Dog, and we're here with another episode. We're in season 5. Mad Dog, we're going to thrive.
We are thriving. This is it. Green grows. Let's do this. Thriving.
So much growth. Now, the ministry's growing all over. And last season, season 4, it was more than gold. If you haven't listened, listen back. Go back and listen to season 4, more than gold. We had golden takes. So we had someone come in to give a golden take from the ministry. This season, we're going to hear from different people, and we're going to hear how the ministry is thriving in different places. So our first guest is from Peru. Mad Dog, tell us a little bit about Peru.
Well, he himself is not from Peru. He's from El Salvador. But you are correct. We interviewed him while he was in Peru. So a country of over 35 million people, majority of which I found this to be interesting, are in urban areas. I can believe that because being in Lima, I imagine 30 million people live in Lima. So less than 50% are evangelical Christians, but it's a great place. It's been there for a while. Started with the Kitzmans, and we had, I think, even a new global leader was there for a little bit, Jason Brink. Then we had the Paris and Lindsay. We even had Charles and Sarah Millette there. So it is historically a great country, but Natan has only been there for about 2 years, and he comes from El Salvador. He's been a missionary for a large part of his life. He was in Peru as a single, doing missions work with different churches. And so it's exciting to have a native Spanish-speaking person kind of lead the work in Peru.
There we go. And that Spanish-speaking person is Natan Martinez. What a history, though. So Sportsman's been there for a long time. Like you just listed off a lot of people who've been there and really excited about the season that they're in now. And Natan is going to give us proper lowdown into what the country of Peru is like and what exactly the ministry is like on the ground in Peru. So we're going to hear how in season 5 the ministry is thriving. I tell you what, the ministry is very much alive and it's very much thriving. So Mad Dog, great introduction. I'm excited. Let's get in Natan Martinez as the guest this week on Already One. Bring him in. Natan, welcome to Already One.
Thank you for the invitation.
You're very welcome. You know Kyle very well, but obviously our listeners want to get to know you.
All right, welcome Natan. We know that you've been a part of Sports Friends now for probably at least 2 years, if not more loosely. So if you were to define these two words, Already One, what does that mean to you, Already One?
It means for me that we have advantage, that we are not focused on results. We are focused on the process. So we are not happy with what happened at the end of the game or of the just the result. We are happy with the process and the result that we're having during the whole path.
Focus on the process. We've got an advantage. Love it. Already won. There you go. So obviously now, Natan, you're team leader in Peru. You've joined obviously 2 years ago, right? But tell us a little bit about what was your life like before that, before Sports Friends. Tell us about, I think you were in El Salvador a little bit. Where did you grow up? And give us a brief timeline of your life before your life with Sports Friends.
I grew up in El Salvador in Central America, in a pastoral family. So I grew up in church since I have memory, working in different ministries. And God called me when I was 20 years old to a full-time missions school. And I had the opportunity to work in different communities. I don't know if you have heard, but a few years ago, El Salvador had some issues with violence and gangs. So God prepared me to work on a few communities in different contexts with evangelism, discipleship, and other areas. I can say it was like a general preparation. I was working on different backgrounds, but not with any specific area. So I use sports as a tool, but just as a tool, not like a platform to change lives. So, but it was like the introduction for me. Then I had the opportunity to travel with Assemblies of God to different countries in Latin America, including Peru. I was missionary for a year in Peru in 2011 in the north area, and I fell in love with the culture and with the food and many things from Peru. Then I came back to El Salvador, finished my theological studies in university, and then start helping my parents with the local church and other ministries. And I always had the desire to work in Thailand, so that's what I joined SIM. And after the process, they recommended me a ministry called Sport Friends. So they said, you might be interested in this ministry. And it was amazing for me to see how God is using this amazing platform, the sport, to change life around the world. And now I'm here working in Peru.
Yeah, that's a big switch from El Salvador, which again, it's a unique opportunity to be an evangelical Christian there, to be able to serve outside of El Salvador, but then feeling called to Thailand and now in Peru. So how do you feel like I'm throwing a curveball here, baseball analogy. How does El Salvador, like, is it a known place? A lot of missionaries coming out of El Salvador?
Yes. If I'm not wrong, El Salvador is right behind Brazil and maybe Argentina as the most senders missionaries countries in Latin America. We are a very small country, but over the 50% of the population it's confessed as a evangelical, Christian evangelical. So we have so many churches and we have missionaries around the world, but we don't have SIM. So my process was a little bit different than other missionaries.
Very cool. I want to pick up on what you said before, the difference between a tool and a platform. So you said before sports was a tool, now with Sports Friends is a platform. Just describe that a little bit, just how it's now a platform, not just a tool.
When I was working in those really dangerous communities, we were working to get kids and youth attention. So we use soccer tournaments and soccer games just to get their attention and trying to convince them to go to the church. But that was it. We didn't have the idea about how we can connect with them in a deeper way and change their life and start a process, a relationship with them. So we're considering, in this case, soccer or as we call football, just as a hook to get their attention, and then we start with our process. And we didn't realize that the sport by itself is a platform to connect with them and establish a long-term relationship.
But we know that Natan is the team leader for Peru, but maybe tell us how you've come. I mean, I know you spent time even before you joined Sportsman's in Peru, but what makes Peru kind of unique? The spiritual, what's the kind of the makeup, the dynamics of Peru, the spiritual, cultural, social? I know it's like 35 million people, so there's a lot of people there.
Yeah, Peru is known globally for Machu Picchu and their food, but Peru is a very unique country because you find three different worlds in Peru. So the coast, it's one world. It's a different lifestyle. The Andes is such a different place, and the Amazon, it's a different world. So there are three different countries in one. If I'm not wrong, there are 54 different indigenous communities identified in Peru. So the variety of languages, culture, food, it is amazing. And the geography is so unique that if you travel like 6 hours away from Lima, you are in a different place. So it's overwhelming that even in the same country, you have so many different cultures, so many different ways to understand the world. And even for churches and denominations, like the main or the largest denomination, they are across Peru, they are so different depending on the region. And even if the region is on the Amazon or if it's in the Andes, it's so different. And it's a huge country, but less than 12% are considered as Christians, like evangelical Christians. It's a country with a very strong Catholic background and about the traditions, about the holidays. Everything is oriented to Catholicism. And I always like to mention that the Catholicism is it's different here in Latin America because it's mixed with the local traditions. So it could be a little bit different than other places like the States or Europe.
Well, over here in England, we know Peru for Paddington Bear, Lames, and then Norberto Solano, who was an amazing Newcastle player who played over there. So that's
You're the only one who thinks of that, Ben. No one else cares.
You know Norberto Solano, right, Natan?
Yeah, he was an amazing free kick shooter.
That's it. And he played a trumpet. He had a little trumpet, Carl, and he was a legend. So there you go. Put him on the map. But no, really interested about hearing that. 3 countries in one. Loads of, amazing things then you guys are working. Tell us about your team then. So obviously you're there in Peru. Tell us about your team. Who's on your team? And tell us about the regions that you guys are working in across Peru.
We have the bless of having a very experienced local team with John, who is our coordinator for trainings and capacitation. He's been working with the ministry for many years, so he has a lot of experience and different backgrounds. And we have Waldemar, who is coordinator for the Alianza Cristiana, which is one of the largest denominations here. And he's a pastor in a big church, and they are using sport friends as evangelism, discipleship, and every field of the church is using sport friends, and it is amazing the program that they have. So we have this blessing of having very experienced partners in sport friends, and also we have volunteers in different areas who love the sport and who love God and who love preaching the gospel. And it's amazing because we have from different contexts, from Lima. Even Lima, it's a very modern city, but also it has like very remote areas in the same city. So we have sports ministries in the middle of the desert, in the nice cities, or we're starting in the Andes with cold and over 3,000 meters altitude, which is it's really hard for us to breathe normally. And now we have in the remote areas in the Amazon. So I can maybe classify our team as a diverse and very passionate about God and about what they do.
Yeah, we're excited. We see some of the pictures and videos from Sandra. She's also part of the team. So it's always good to see the efforts that you're putting in. I think it's exciting to know that you're not like the U.S. as far as geography-wise, but you do have diverse situations. I know Lima, you say it never rains, to places where the Amazon, where it's probably raining every other day, to freezing snow temperatures. To see the diversity is quite amazing. Share some of the places where you're seeing growth, some of the areas that the churches are understanding the concept of church-centered sports ministry. How are they taking ownership? What are those places of growth that you're seeing in Peru?
It is amazing how the last year the churches in the city, they are not adopting the need of using sports. They are seeing the urgency of using sports, as the government is trying to create more green areas, so they are trying to create more soccer fields and volleyball fields. So now the church is saying that they have to, that they don't want, they have to use sports. So here in Lima, there are many churches and many organizations who are contacting us because they see how sports can help them. But even in the most remote areas, sports it's growing. It's funny because even in the Amazon, the women's league it's growing faster than here in the city. So the women's, they love soccer. So you see youth women, you see all women playing in the Amazon. They don't have shoes, they don't have a nice soccer field, but they love sharing and spending time with their families in a soccer field. And that's how the same is happening with the ministry. So thanks God, we are seeing growing in each area here in Peru. even here in Lima, in the city, in the Andes, we are receiving many calls from different denominations, and in the Amazon, uh, there are many organizations working on church planting, and they are including sports as a part of their project. So I can say that it's growing everywhere.
That growth everywhere. Well, season 5, look at the green. That symbolizes the growth, and we can see that growth in different places. So the ministry is thriving. But tell us, in the midst of that, I'm sure you're facing different challenges. I know in Lima, the traffic is a massive challenge. But what about the rest of the things you guys are going through? What are the challenges you guys face, and how can people pray for some of those things?
Time has been one of the most biggest concerns here in Lima and out of Lima. Peru had like 2 years of after the quarantine with some restrictions, so they are still trying to grow the economy. So everybody's busy. People is working from Monday to Saturday. The holidays, churches are using those dates for their activities. So having some like 3 or even 2 days for a training, it's complicated. And unfortunately, violence is growing here in Peru. People, they are afraid to go out of their houses or going to a public soccer field, volleyball field. So those are the main challenges that we're having right now. Uh, the time and the violence, how it's growing.
Maybe can you share a story that shows how lives are being impacted and changed from the ministry and how is it thriving?
Every time that I see Isaac, he's 17 years old boy from community in the Amazon. He really challenged my life. He's getting prepared in Spanish because he's not a native Spanish. He's to arrive to his community. You have to travel to Bucapa, which is the main city in the Amazon, like an hour flight from Lima, and then travel. If you are taking the faster boat, it takes 12 to 14 hours on the river. But if you are taking the traditional boat, could be up to 4 days on the river. And but he's getting ready in learning Spanish, in leadership. Even though he's 17 years old, he's working on his community, and he was involved with the sport friends 2 years ago, and now he has two sport ministries. One of them is in a different indigenous community. Um, Seeing how he's growing, he was shy. He just shared like 20 words when you were talking with him, and now to see him that he's sharing the gospel with other leaders in the community culture. You have to be very respectful with the old people. You have it. There are so many ceremonies for you to go and speak in public, and seeing how he goes, he's not afraid to talk with people with more experience. Uh, Even he's going to a different community that a few decades ago they were fighting each other, and now they see that he's not needing anyone with him. He's going by himself. He's going with a soccer ball and his Bible, and seeing how he's learning a new dialect to share the gospel, and seeing how it's growing and the passion that he has, and seeing that how he wants to reach more youth like him, and the passion that he has to go even deeper in the Amazon, and because he knows so many communities that inspire me, and I learn a lot from him each time that we have the opportunity to meet together.
Wow. Amazing. 4 days on the river. Can't imagine what that's like. That's unbelievable. Yeah. That's amazing to think that, people are being sent and going into these places, taking hours and stuff. But amazing. We always say like leadership development, a 17-year-old is being able to be used by God in that way. And I'm sure you've got many people from, teenagers all the way through to adults who are ministering to make disciples, which is really good. So really good story there to hear about that. Now, you shared this week with us, but tell the listeners, you've got a vision, right, for 2030 is kind of a thing. So in the next kind of 4 years. So why don't you share with us, what is your kind of vision and hope for the next 4 to 5 years in Peru?
The dream, the vision it's for 2030 it's called the 80-20. So we want to dedicate the 80% of our time and resources to the less rich communities here in Peru. I mentioned that there are 54 identified indigenous communities in Peru. Even the largest unreached group is here in Peru. There are, I'm not sure, maybe 4 or 5 unreached groups yet here in Peru. We want to, not just to say we have a sport friends there, we want to join the effort from the organizations and churches who are reaching those groups, those indigenous groups in the Amazon and in the Andes. There are organizations and churches who are working in translation. They are planting churches. So we want to join their efforts and help them and provide them this amazing platform to connect with the community. Something that changed my mind, it was Clever, one of our of the leaders. He's also working in translation. And he said that when we were talking on the basic training about the context, it really helped him with the translation efforts. So, and seeing how they can connect, not just for the sports ministry, but also they can connect to get more involved with the community. We're offering these tools beyond soccer, beyond volleyball. It's connection with the community. So we want to do that. Dedicate the 80% of our effort, time, but also to bring the churches from Lima and all the big cities to the Amazon, and the 20% from the cities and other places where there is an established church. It doesn't mean that we are not, we don't take care of the rest of the 20%. I mean, it's a sacrifice for us because it means that we need to have that 20% ready with their own trainers, with their own team equipped to survive and keep growing by themselves.
That's great. What about kind of your advice for other Christian leaders in Peru or your other sports friends, team leaders? What can you give? What kind of advice you can give them to thrive in their ministry?
Enjoy the process, because sometimes we are focused on numbers. I mean, we have to give statistics at the end of the year because we know that we're working but donors and people they will see their donations or the time that they spend. It was worth it when they see the numbers, when they see the pictures. But sometimes we forget to enjoy that, and we don't see the small details like how our team members or our colleagues are growing, or seeing how they are connecting with their communities. That's something that someone really recommended to me when I was the first time that I was working with the communities in the Amazon, and say, this is a very slow process. This might take years for you to get in contact with the community and earn their respect and earn their friendship. But it will be worth it, because once they consider you as a friend or someone who they can trust, you will be able to share the gospel with freedom, and they will grow. And sometimes, especially in the city context, we just want to see numbers and churches involving and kids reach. And we forget how important it is that we're working for a life change by the time. And when we start enjoying the process, we realize the needs that we have, the changes that we need to do. We are growing constantly along with our team. So that's what I can see, and that's something that God is showing me in this time. Enjoy the process, enjoy the results, enjoy the small details and the big details.
Small and big details. Enjoy the process.
Enjoy the process.
Yeah. That's what you said at the beginning. Yeah, you said that. Yeah, it's a process, and you guys are enjoying it as a team. And you said there about your team is growing, right? So you mentioned John Waldemar. you know, Sandra, all the different coordinators and things and coaches you've got, your team is growing. So keep growing, keep thriving. And thanks for that advice, Natan. I'm just excited to hear about those leagues, those women's leagues in particular, growing in those like really, you know, outrageous places. So really exciting. So great stuff. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit today. And yeah, appreciate your time coming in.
You're being enticed into Peru. Ben's coming. Ceviche, grilled chicken.
Yeah, 3 countries in one though. I mean, there's just a landscape. Just it's crazy the difference between them. And yeah, I kind of get the picture of Lima being just like crazy traffic and things, but then amazing that growth is going on. And actually, the women's league in the Amazon is growing quicker than a lot of stuff in the city, right? So amazing. But also in the city, he was talking about churches now saying that they have to, because like they recognize sport is like, you know, such an amazing thing they have to do. And the Sports Friends guys are using that as an opportunity, right? So, you know, we talk about growth, season 5, thriving. There's so much growth, right, going on in Peru, right?
Thriving, 5 and thriving. We're thriving. Yeah, no, I think it's good. I mean, being there, you know, just seeing the passion, especially the youth that are in the church, wanting to use sports, wanting to share the gospel. So it's, you know, it's palpable. I mean, it's really it's an exciting time to be there, you know, and again to see the growth from Lima to the Amazon to the mountains. It's great stuff.
There you go. Palpable in Pucallpa. Love it. And a clear vision as well, like the 80-20, clear vision to reach the least reach as well. So yeah, really exciting stuff there. So should we show a little video just to get people just a bit of a flavor? Who should we show? Coach Jeffrey?
Jeffrey or Jeffrey?
I think it's Jeffrey. Let's show Coach Jeffrey. Here's a minute video just showing a little bit of the context that we just heard from Natan.
Coach Jeffrey.
Coach Jeffrey.
Me parece que el deporte es una herramienta muy importante, sobre todo porque los niños y preadolescentes son muy apasionados y quieren ser parte de algo. Realmente siento que ellos tienen una gran necesidad de afecto. Converso con ellos y converso con la gente, y la mayoría de estos chicos viven o han crecido o crecen en familias disfuncionales, donde sus papás de repente están en la cárcel o están separados, un ambiente de mucha violencia. Y lo que me llena más el corazón es poder que Dios me use para poder hacer llegar su evangelio y poder transformar la vida de ellos. Mi propósito en la vida es poder alcanzar a las personas y a los niños que necesitan de Dios. Y esperamos que Dios haga su voluntad, ¿no? Y Dios se siga moviendo a través de su Espíritu Santo, en su poder.
Good stuff, man. Good to see action, activities.
Yeah, you see the context there a little bit. And of course, you can subscribe on YouTube for more videos like that as well. You can also follow us on TikTok at Already One Podcast.
We're on TikTok?
Okay, on TikTok now.
Come
on. Follow us on there. You also can get us on Instagram.
What?
Sports Friends INTL, and also Sports Friends Peru. They've got their own Instagram and Facebook as well. So give them a follow on there, guys, as well. But yeah, I tell you what, I thought seeing Coach Jeffrey and hearing the town with that traffic in the background, I felt like I was there in Peru. Just hearing that, I was there.
Some raw fish and eat it. That's ceviche. You'll be a real Peruvian.
There you go. There we go. Well, another amazing episode there, just hearing from a team leader. One of our over 20 countries where Sports Friends is working in. So if you guys feel like you're led to give, why not visit www.sports-friends.org/give. And you can give to the ministry as well, right, Mad Dog? So good. But what do people got to do just to finish? What do they got to do?
Well, after they make their donation or they submit a form that they're going to join Sports Friends, they can, tell their friends that they've done this. Tell your friends you've donated. Tell your friends you listen. Tell your friends' friends. Make sure they tell them. Please, just do it. And if you want, bring your parents, friends. Just tell everyone outside of Natan's house you've already won.
Already Won. Our mission is to help you thrive. Every Tuesday, join our hosts and guests. Discover how